Welcome, friends, to today's meditation time. I would just invite you just to get comfortable. If that means closing your eyes, then do that. If that means lying down and stretching out, then do that. If it means focusing your gaze on a spot in the room where you can really just send all of your energy and attention there, then do that. Just really give yourself a chance to choose how you physically show up. And then also give yourself permission that as you need to adjust, let yourself adjust. The busy mind is distracting enough. Don't let the body be a distraction as well. And so let's settle in with just a couple of breaths together. So as you either stretch out long or you sit up tall, whichever feels right, just take a slow, deep breath in. And let's just open up our mouth and gently sigh it out. And a slow breath in. And again, just a gentle sigh out. And then from here, you settle into a rhythm that feels right. Breathing in, breathing out. Finding some stillness. Finding stability in the breath. Letting it hold you right here in this present moment. Our inspiration, our grounding for today comes from the Yoga Sutras, as always. Here in the 4th chapter, this line around the 18th verse talks about samadhi. We hear about samadhi first when we learn about the 8 limbs. Samadhi is this thing that we're striving toward that feels so elusive, but we know that after practice, after quieting the mind, maybe we'll catch a glimpse of this samadhi. It's this almost indescribable sense of peace and bliss and light, where all of the distractions have just lost their influence on us, where all the chatter in our mind has become completely quiet. And as we learn about samadhi through all these ancient teachings, it's often talked about as this thing you catch this glimpse of. And then you know that it's real. You feel that it's possible within you. And then you continue to practice, and over time, weeks, months, years, all of a sudden those glimpses get a little longer. You can hold the glimpse just a bit more before the chatter comes back in, before the noise of the world begins to distract us. And again, it affirms that samadhi is possible. This indescribable sense of peace where we are unaffected by the turbulence around us. We start to understand that it is real. And I understand that in our lives, in our world, in the situations where we're all living now, it seems elusive. It feels like something that you want to believe in, that you want to imagine could really happen. But it seems so far away. But here in this 4th chapter, what Patanjali keeps telling us in all of these verses is, all these practices that I've given you, he says, are to help you understand your pure state of consciousness. This inner you that is unchanging. The word in Sanskrit that he offers to us is Purusha. It's this essence of who we are, that no matter what suffering we encounter, no matter what hardships we endure, no matter what harm and violence we see around us, that part of us is unaffected. It's unchanging. And what he tells us in this particular verse is, the more that you practice, the more that you tap into that consciousness, the longer those glimpses of samadhi linger. because you start to feel this unchanging part of you. It begins to persist. And the chatter of the mind loses its influence. And the harm in the world around us doesn't seem quite as overwhelming. And then over time, that unchanging, pure consciousness within, it's not just something we experience in meditation. We start to experience it in everyday life. And the world continues to move, and crises continue to happen. And while we do care, and we have compassion, and we engage in right action, our peace is unchanging. Our light and sense of stillness within is unaffected. And so I want to just give us a visual as we sit here together so we can maybe imagine how this could be. So just think about something in your life that over the last maybe days, weeks, months, you realize you don't need that thing anymore. Maybe it was something that because of a seasonal change, you realize that article of clothing is no longer needed. Maybe it was a vehicle. You have a new one and this other one is no longer needed. Maybe it was a habit that over time you changed and started to do new things and you realized you don't need that other habit any longer. Maybe it was a relationship. And I could go on and give you all the examples. They can be tangible physical things or they can be conceptual. But think of something in the last days, weeks, months, this last year where you've realized, I don't need that thing anymore. It doesn't have any purpose in my life. And it could be something as small as, I've moved to California and now I don't need this winter coat because I live by the ocean and this winter coat is no longer necessary in my life. So just think, what is the one thing that you don't need anymore? And then imagine yourself with that thing, whether it's tangible or conceptual. Imagine you putting it in a box and giving it away. Not putting it in a box and putting it on a shelf in your closet just in case. Putting it in a box. Maybe putting it in the backseat of your car, driving it away and giving it away. Just see yourself doing that. And now imagine that instead of it being that thing, that concept, whatever it was that you've already gotten rid of in your life, now imagine what if you put one of those influences of the world or the chatter in your mind or the old habits and thoughts and impressions from your past. What if you could take one of those and put it in a box, put it in the back seat of your car and drive and give it away? Not in a place that you could ever go back and get it again, but it's gone. You made the effort to pack it up, and you made the effort to get rid of it. That is what Patanjali is telling us we need to do. There are layers and layers in between us and this pure consciousness, this pure state, this unchanging part of us. And we've put the layers on. And we have to be the ones to take them off. One at a time. And so I encourage each of us just to begin to ask the question, what's the one thing right now? The one habit, the one impression from my past that just keeps nagging at me What's the one kind of self-talk that I keep going back to again and again? What is the one failure that I keep blaming myself for? The one mistake that I can't turn loose of? What is it for you? Because as I've done the work with myself, I knew instantly what it was for me. And maybe you're not quite sure here in this moment. Maybe you'll just sit with the question. But then the follow-up question would be, are you willing to pack it up and send it on its way? Because it's the first layer to get rid of that's standing between you and this unchanging part of you that you so deserve to access every day. This unchanging part of you that has the words to describe samadhi, because that part of you knows that it is real. That abiding peace is possible. But are you willing to get rid of the first layer of whatever's in the way? For many of us, we have layers that we didn't even realize we were adding upon each other. They just became habits, conditioned ways of thinking, of talking to ourselves, of moving through the world. And then when someone sits in meditation and talks to us about this abiding peace, we immediately think that sounds marvelous, but it is not for me. So I would ask you, what's the first layer? What's the first thing that you know is not serving your life and in fact is getting in the way? And are you willing to pack it up and get rid of it? We put the layers there. We are the ones that have to remove them. It is hard work, but it is so very much worth it. And so let's just continue to breathe here. And just let those two questions just hold space around you and within you. What's the first layer that needs to go? And are you willing to pack it up and be done with it? So just continue to breathe. Asking yourself the question, seeing what you notice, what comes up in your mind. And sit with that. And as you continue to breathe, settle just a bit more as we prepare to close. If you've ever had someone come to your door and you didn't answer it quickly enough for them, their knock or their ring gets a little more persistent. And sometimes you can ignore it. But eventually, it just keeps coming, and so you go to the door and you open it up. And for most of us, when we start to discover this layer, this thing that needs to go, what's going to happen in the days, the weeks, the months, maybe even the years to follow is there's going to be this persistent knock. It's going to keep coming back, almost like when you test the integrity of a new building, and you just keep pressing the walls and the structures to make sure that it's standing firm. That thing's going to keep coming back, and you're going to keep hearing that knock. And you're going to try to block it out. And then over time, the knock will still be there. The persistence of it will still be there. But you'll no longer hear it. It's tested the integrity of your structure, and the integrity stood firm. That's what this practice offers us. I don't have a timeline to share with you. I can't tell you how many steps that it takes. But I can tell you that it is possible. But first, we've got to start unlayering the things that are covering up this true, unchanging, beautiful, peaceful life that's within us. So let's take a slow, deep breath in together. Just feel the nourishment of this breath. And then as you exhale, just sealing our commitment that we at least are willing to ask the questions. One more breath in, nourishing. And one more breath out, willing. Namaste.